Hello everyone, myself Dr. Arvind Kumar Das, Assistant Professor, Department of Veterinary Medicine, Bihar Veterinary College, Patna. Today's topic is copper deficiency. Primarily, the copper deficiency occurs in young ruminants and characterized by retarded growth rate, unthriftiness, diarrhea, lameness, change in the hair color, changes in the coat is known as achromotrichia, demyelinations of the CNS in neonates, anemia in the later stage, falling disease, osteoporosis, rough and depigmented hair. There are two types of copper deficiency, primary copper deficiency and secondary copper deficiency. Primary copper deficiency when copper is inadequate in diet, then primary copper deficiency occurs with direct deficiency of copper. In secondary copper deficiency, dietary intake is sufficient, but utilizations of the copper by tissue is impeded. In ruminants, copper deficiency interfere with tissue oxidation, resulting various clinical manifestations, including anemia and demyelination in CNS. Copper deficiency causes diseases of economic importance with heavy mortalities in affected area. The major loss occurs by the failure of animals to thrive. In falling diseases occurs due to copper deficiency, up to 45% of cattle in affected herds may die. Young animals are more susceptible to primary copper deficiency than adults. The signs are severe in calves and yearlings, followed by less severe in 2 years old, and only minor degree appears in adults. As you know that the milk is a poor source of copper, and whenever it is a solo source of nourishment, the intake of copper is low. Milk from normal use containing 0.2 to 0.6 milligram of copper per liters of milk. But under conditions of severe copper deficiency, this may be reduced up to 0.01 to 0.02 milligram per liter of the milk. Both primary and secondary copper deficiency occur most commonly in spring and summer, coinciding with lowest copper content of the pasture. When copper is directly deficient in diet, the syndrome of primary copper deficiency occurs in animal, but there are many reasons for the deficiency of copper in diet. Copper content in diet is inadequate when the forage is grown on deficient soil, or copper is unavailable in soils. Two types soils which are remaining deficient in copper: sandy soils and peat or monk soil or swamp soil. The sandy soils are poor in organic matters, and the plants produced on these soils are copper deficient. Pasture containing less than 3 ppm dry matter of copper produces signs of deficiency in grazing ruminants. Level of 3 to 5 ppm dry matter is dangerous for the animal to occur deficiency disease. Levels greater than 5 ppm dry matter, preferably 7 to 12 ppm, considered as safe unless complicating factors cause secondary copper deficiency. Primary copper deficiency in ruminants causes following diseases: zoonotic ataxia of sheep in Australia, New Zealand, and USA; leaking sickness of cattle in Holland, and falling disease of cattle in Australia. In pig, copper deficiency may cause anemia in sucking pigs. Adult horses are unaffected, but abnormalities of limbs and joints of foals regard in copper deficient area are reported. A Concurrent deficiency of both copper and cobalt occurs in Australia, known as coast disease, in Florida, USA, known as salt sickness, and is characterized by the appearance of clinical signs of both deficiencies. The disease is controlled by supplementations of the diet with copper and cobalt. Copper deficiency of ruminant in India usually results in infertility and low production. During secondary copper deficiency, the following diseases are occurring in animals in different countries. You can see the slides which reveals that this disease swayback occurs in Britain, USA, especially in sheep, and copper level in liver are low, and its probable conditioning factors are unknown. Renguera also occurring in Peru, in sheep, and there is also low level of copper level in liver, and its conditioning factors are also unknown. Third is known in Britain, and especially occurs in sheep and cattle, which copper level is unknown, and predisposing factors are also known, unknown. Peat scores occurs in New Zealand in cattle, and its copper level in liver is low, and its conditioning factors is molybdenum. Peat scores also occurs in Britain, and it especially occurs in cattle, which copper level in liver is low, and its conditioning factor is also unknown. Peat scores occurs in Canada in cattle, and its level of the liver copper is unknown, and molybdenum is probable conditioning factors. Salt sickness occurs in Florida, USA, in cattle, and its copper level in liver is unknown, and its conditioning factors is also unknown. Pine especially occurs in Scotland in calves, and its copper level in liver is low, and its conditioning factors is probable unknown. So this all about the similar signs symptoms containing diseases which occurs by due to the copper deficiency. Conditioning factors of secondary copper deficiency is a dietary excess of molybdenum and sulfate characterized by diarrhea and unthriftiness. A high molybdenum intake can induce copper deficiency. Even copper content of the pasture is high. A higher copper intake can overcome the adverse effect of molybdenum. Molybdenum appears as conditioning agents in enzymatic ataxia in United States. Zinc, iron, lead, and calcium carbonate are also known as conditioning agents for copper. Yellow calf is a syndrome of nursing calves in that area where copper content of forage ranges between 2.6 to 11.8 ppm, and the molybdenum from 1 to 39 ppm. Swayback of lamps in UK is a secondary copper deficiency, but no conditioning factors has been determined. A dietary excess of molybdenum is conditioning factors in the direct diseases known as peat score in New Zealand, California, and Canada, and TERT in Britain. Copper molybdenum sulfate relationship has major importance in occurrence of secondary copper deficiency. Secondary copper deficiency occurs when adequate dietary intake of copper but absorptions and utilizations of copper are inadequate. Because of the presence of interfering substance, molybdenum and sulfate alone or in combination in the diet affect copper metabolism. It also affects the fetus and interferes copper storage in fetal liver. It has been noted that the selenium administration to sheep thriving on copper deficient pastures causes improvement in copper absorptions. During metabolism of copper, molybdates reacts with sulfides to produce thiomolybdates or copper tetrathiomolybdate in rumen. Copper absorptions are influenced by many pathophysiological processes and factors. Absorptions of copper is interfered in a sieve on high molybdenum intake. Molybdate affect the pool of sulfides in rumen by two routes. If the uh, uh, if the diet contains sulfides, the molybdate decreases the concentrations of sulfides. Copper can becomes unavailable to the animal in the rumen by formation of cupric molybdate or cupric sulfides. If the diet contains sulfate or sulfur amino acids as a major sulfur source, molybdate elevate the and aggravate clinical copper deficiency signs and symptoms. So this is all about the copper absorptions which impeded by the secondary conditioning factors. Now, copper utilizations is also affected by conditioning factors. Sulfate and molybdate interferes mobilizations of the copper from liver and inhibit copper intake by tissues. It also inhibits copper transport both into and out of the liver by affecting copper transport and inhibit synthesis of copper storage complexes and ceruloplasmin, a copper containing enzyme synthesized in liver and stored and carried copper from liver to bloodstream and the part of the body where it is needed. Hepatic storage also affected by molybdenum and sulfate. Seep on copper deficient diet, molybdate alone or sulfate alone decreases the level of copper in plasma, liver, and kidney, and decreasing ceruloplasmin activity. Despite of the adequate dietary level of copper, copper level are less in the presence of molybdate and sulfate. Molybdate and sulfate together impair the movement of copper into or out of the liver. Sulfate alone exert an effect on liver storage of copper, and increase in intake of sulfate reduces hepatic storage of both copper and molybdate. Tissue utilizations of copper is affected by conditioning factors. Clinical signs of hypocuprosis, such as steleols, can occur in sieve where blood copper levels are too high. Under these circumstances, copper is not utilized in tissues and the blood copper rises in response to the physiological needs of the tissue. In bone, the pathogenic effect of copper deficiency occurs as osteoporosis. It occurs in natural cases of copper deficiency caused by depressions of osteoblastic activity. Marked overgrowth of epiphyseal cartilage, especially at costochondral junctions and in metatarsal bones, can be seen. There is also an important impairment of collagen formations. The consequences of copper deficiency on hearts appear as myocardial degenerations or falling disease. It may be terminal manifestations of anemic anoxia or due to interference with tissue oxidation. In this disease, it is thought that the stress of carving and lactations contribute to the development of heart block and ventricular fibrillation when there has already been considerable decrease in cardiac reserve. Effect of copper deficiency on blood vessels. Experimentally produced copper deficiency has also caused a sudden death due to rupture of heart and great vessels in a high proportions of pig fed a copper deficient diet. The basic defect is degenerations of internal elastic lamina. Effects of copper on tissues can be explained as following. Copper plays an important role in tissue oxidation by either supplementing cytochrome oxidase system or entering into their formations. Ceruloplasmin is the copper containing enzymes through which copper exerts its physiological function. Nervous tissue are also affected by copper deficiency. The mechanism by which copper deficiency halts the formations of myelin and causes demyelination has not been established. In experimental animal, it has been shown that copper deficiency does interferes with synthesis of phospholipids. Anoxia is cause of demyelination. Anemic anoxia is likely to occur in highly deficient ewes, and anemic ewes do produce a higher proportion of lambs with endotic ataxia. However, there is often no anemia in ewes which produce lambs with the more common subacute form of the disease. Severely deficient ewes have lambs which are affected at birth, in which myelin formation is likely to have been prevented. The lambs of ewes less severely deficient have normal demyelination at birth and develop demyelinations in postnatal life. The impacts of copper deficiency exerted on wool. These straightness and stinginess of wool is due to inadequate keratinizations and due to imperfect oxidations of free thiol group. Provisions of copper to such sheep is followed by oxidations of these free thiol groups and movement to normal conditions of wool. In general syndrome, primary copper deficiency in cattle causes unthriftiness, loss of milk productions, and anemia in adult cattle. In increased occurrence of post-parchment hemoglobinuria is also recorded. And the coat color is affected. Red and black cattle in change to bleached rusty red and becomes rough and steady. Calves grow poorly, sometimes have chronic diarrhea, and there is an increased tendency for bone to fracture, particularly the limb bones, including the scapula. In some cases, ataxia develops after exercise, there being loss of control of limbs with the animal falling or subsiding into sitting postures. Itching and hair leaking is also recorded as a manifestations of copper deficiency in cattle. Although diarrhea occurs, persistent scoring is not characteristic of primary copper deficiency. Calves may develop stiffness and enlargement of the joints and contractions of the flexor tendons, causing the affected animals to stand on their toes. These signs may be present at birth or occurs before weaning. In secondary copper deficiency in cattle, the syndrome of secondary copper deficiency includes the signs of primary copper deficiency, except that anemia, which occurs less commonly. In addition to other signs, there is a general tendency for scoring in cattle. Diarrhea is a prominent sign in experimental copper deficiency. The characteristic of falling disease of cattle is that the cows are apparently healthy but throw up their heads below and fall finally. Death is most cases occurs, but some falls and struggle feebly on their sides for a minute with intermittent bellowing and running movement and attempt to rise. Rare case show signs falling diseases up to 24 hours or more. Pete scores of cattle and sheep are consequences of secondary copper deficiency. Persistent diarrhea with passage of watery yellow, green to black feces with an offensive odors occurs soon after the cattle go on the affected pasture, in some cases within 8 to 10 days. Debility, rough hair coat, and depigmentation manifested by reddening or gray flecking, especially around the eyes in black cattle. This condition is known as spectacles eye. Affected animals usually recover in a few days following treatment with copper. Unthriftiness, or you can say pine of calves, also appears due to secondary copper deficiency. The earliest signs are stiffness of gait and unthriftiness. The epiphysis of the distal ends of the metacarpus and metatarsus may be enlarged and resemble the epiphysitis of calves deficient in calcium and phosphorus or vitamin D. The epiphyses are painful on palpations and some calves are severely lame. Copper is essential for formation of hemoglobin, but it is not marked in secondary form. In view of the heavy hemosiderin deposits in tissues of copper deficient animals, copper is necessary for the reutilizations of iron liberated from the normal breakdown of hemoglobin. Injutic ataxia and swayback occurs in lambs due to secondary copper deficiency. Injutic ataxia affects only unweaned lambs, mostly in 1 to 2 month age group. Lambs may be affected at birth. Severity of the paresis decreases with increasing the age at onset. Lambs affected at birth or within the first month usually die within 3 to 4 days. The diseases in older lambs may last for 3 to 4 weeks. Incoordinations of the hind limbs occurs in these conditions. As the disease progresses, the incoordinations becomes more severe and may be apparent after walking only a few yards. Respiratory rates and heart rates greatly accelerated by exertions. Excessive flexions of joints, wobbling of the hindquarters, and finally falling happens. Hind legs are affected first, and the limbs may be able to drag itself about in a sitting positions. Then once forelimbs are involved, recumbency persists and limbs die due to inanitions. There is no true paralysis. The limbs able to kick vigorously even in the recumbent stage. Appetite remains unaffected. Swayback occurs as congenital forms. Cerebrospinal swayback occurs only when the copper deficiency is extreme. Affected lambs is born dead or weak and unable to stand and suck. Incoordinations and erratic movements are evident when injutic ataxia. Spastic paralysis and occasionally blindness are seen. Softening and cavitations of the cerebral white matter commences by 120th day of gestations. Progressive or delayed spinal swayback begins to develop some weeks after birth, with lesion and clinical signs appearing at 3 to 6 weeks of age. It is a postnatal acute fatal swayback. In this condition, sudden onset of recumbency with death occurring 1 to 2 days later due to swelling of the cerebrum. Inadequate keratinizations of wool happens due to imperfect oxidations of free thiol groups during their growth and keratinizations. Copper containing enzymes tyrosine is needed to convert L-tyrosine to melanin. With copper deficiency, uh, this conversion is slow and hair is lighter in color than normal. Copper deficiency led to decreased immune function in ruminants, also associated with anemia due to altered iron metabolism. Decreased weight gain or weight loss are also occurs during this situation. Deficiency also associated with hemolytic anemia in post-parturient dairy cattle. Copper plays an important role in the transport of iron from the gut to the marrow and in the incorporations of iron into the heme moiety. Anemia occurs as moderate, slowly progressive, and closely resembles iron deficiency. Copper deficiency can be documented by measuring serum copper as ceruloplasmin, erythrocyte, superoxide dismutase, or the copper content of the hair, liver, and kidney. Serum iron is low in ruminants with copper deficiency. Copper can be supplied as a dietary supplement or as injectable copper glycinate preparations. Diagnosis can be possible by symptoms and response to the treatment with copper. Estimations of copper content of tissue and body fluids, estimations of ceruloplasmin in the serum. Differential diagnosis should be done with the unthriftiness due to internal parasites, Pitt scores, and Jones disease. Malnutrition due to energy and protein deficiency, lameness caused by osteodystrophy due to calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D imbalance, anemia due to pediculosis, sudden death due to other causes. Now the treatment and control. Oral dosing with 4 grams of copper sulfate for calves from 2 to 6 months of age and 8 to 10 grams for adult cattle given weekly for 3 to 5 weeks is recommended for primary or secondary copper deficiency. The diet of affected animals should also be supplemented with copper. Copper sulfates may be added to the mineral salt mixture at a level of 3 to 5% of the total mixtures. A commonly recommended mixture for cattle is 50% calcium phosphorus mineral supplement, 45% of cobalt iodized salt, and 3 to 5% of copper sulfate. This mixture is offered free of choice or can be added to the complete diet at the rate of 1% of the total diet. Prognosis is guarded to good. Excess molybdenum and sulfate can be overcome by increasing the dietary copper or by injecting copper. Parenteral injection of copper glycinate may also be used. Brisket region is suitable for the injection. Copper sulfate can be added to the molasses at the rate of 0.363 gram per head per day for mature cattle. In some countries, EDTA solutions is also used as injectable copper supplements. Dose for adult is 400 milligram subcutaneous, and for calves it is given at the rate of 100 to 200 milligram. One injection is effective as a treatment for 4 to 6 months in primary copper deficiency. Oral administration of copper oxide needle, which is a fine rods of 1 to 10 millimeters long, placed in gelatin capsule that dissolve in reticulorumen and liberate the copper oxide whites. These whites resides in reticulum and abomasum and slowly releasing copper for absorptions. In case of excess molybdenum and sulfate, repeat the injection for 4 to 6 weeks. So thank you all of you. You have listened very carefully. Thank you.